For the last few months, ever since Nintendo announced and released the first wave of new Mario Kart 8 DLC, many people have been predicting what the remaining 40 tracks are going to be. With Wave 2 right around the corner, I thought now would be the perfect time for me to finally give my official predictions and hopes for the rest of Mario Kart 8's Booster Course Pass. Firstly, I should mention that I never played or cared for Mario Kart Tour. Henceforth, I am largely unfamiliar with most of Tour's original tracks. When I played Paris Promenade, Tokyo Blur, and Ninja Hideaway in the first wave of Mario Kart 8 DLC, that was my first time playing those tracks. Because of this, I will not be predicting any Tour tracks. I am also assuming that there will be at least one Tour track in every cup for the remainder of the DLC. As evident in the first wave, it seems Nintendo will promote Tour more than any other game in the franchise, since not as many people have played Mario Kart Tour. I am going to assume that for the 10 remaining cups in the DLC, there will be at least one Tour track for each. And so, instead of giving you my top 40 track prediction list, I'm going to be giving you my top 30 track prediction list, all from the first 7 Mario Kart games. This gives plenty of room for the Tour tracks, which I'm sure will take up most of the slots by the time the entire DLC is out. Alright, without further ado, let's get on with this list. Starting with Super Mario Kart for the SNES, I chose 3 tracks for my prediction list. The first is Vanilla Lake 1. Outside of GBA and Tour, Vanilla Lake has never been remade, and I would love to see either depiction from the SNES appear in Mario Kart 8. Additionally, Vanilla Lake had many Easter eggs in some of the tracks from the first wave of the DLC, possibly hinting at its return in a future wave. Next on my list is SNES Bowser Castle 3. Outside of Mario Kart Super Circuit for the GBA, not a single SNES Bowser Castle has ever been remade, and that's a crime. Seeing one of the earliest Bowser-themed tracks reimagined in 3D and in the Mario Kart 8 engine would be truly amazing. Finally, SNES Mario Circuit 4 needs to come to the Switch. Outside of the GBA, Mario Circuit 4 is the only Mario Circuit from the SNES that has never been remade. I would love to see this classic stage make a comeback. Although, I would be okay with Mario Circuit 2 as well, since that was already remade in Tour, and with an added gliding section. Moving on to Mario Kart 64, the first track I chose was Koopa Troopa Beach. I just love this beach-themed track where you race around the island. I especially love all those ramps and that hard-to-reach shortcut through the waterfall. Next up is Calamari Desert. This was one of my favorite tracks from the N64. The train that runs across the map made this track so unique and stand out from the rest. When racing against friends, it's always such a frenzy when some people manage to beat the train and the others have no choice but to wait for it to pass. With this map's return in Tour, there's a greater chance we'll see it in all its glory in Mario Kart 8. Last up for my N64 tracks is Bowser's Castle. N64 Bowser's Castle was remade not too terribly long ago for the Wii, but I just love this map. Dodging all the thwomps and the fire-breathing statues made this a fun but difficult stage as a kid. I have a lot of nostalgia for this track and its boss-themed music, and would love to see it return in HD. Moving on to Mario Kart Super Circuit for the GBA, my first track is Sunset Wilds. As you race on this map, the sun continues to set with every lap, and by the end of the race, it is nighttime. You also have to watch out for all those pesky Shy Guys right in the middle of the track. Come on, Shy Guys. Couldn't you set up your tent anywhere else? Plus, the music is fire. I mean, just listen to this. Next up is Lakeside Park. This track is so neat because as you race, the volcanoes in the background erupt and actually shoot meteors right onto the track. This gives the map an extra level of immersion that's begging for a Mario Kart 8 remaster. If this level was remade, Nintendo could even make it like the Wii's Grumble Volcano and have the track fall apart with every lap. Come on, Nintendo, I'm giving you some great ideas here. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Many people have been predicting that the Blue Shell Cup that will wrap up the DLC will be made up of entirely Rainbow Road tracks. And you know what? I love that idea. So screw it. We might as well throw in every Rainbow Road that isn't currently in Mario Kart 8, starting with GBA Rainbow Road. So I ended up picking 5 tracks from Mario Kart Double Dash, because there were just too many good ones. First up is Daisy Cruiser. I know this track was just remade on the 3DS, but I just love this map. Picking a cruise ship to be the setting for a racetrack worked so well. You get to drive around the pool, through the dining area, Oh, and don't even get me started on that part where you blast out of the chimney. So much fun. How could I not pick DK Mountain? This is a fan favorite. You start off by blasting off to the top of the mountain. Then, you start your dangerous descent as you take crazy sharp turns, all the while trying to dodge these massive boulders. Finally, you must make it across the long and narrow bridge in which anything could happen. This bridge is a game changer and is perhaps responsible for the most chaotic Mario Kart moments. Next up is Wario Coliseum. All the ramps, jumps, and unpredictable turns and maneuvers make this track so memorable. This track is like a twisted jungle. The map on the right side of the screen just looks like a crazy jumbled mess. We definitely need to see this chaotic track make a comeback. Dino Dino Jungle is a Double Dash favorite. Driving between the dino's legs and then ascending only to meet up with them again at the end is amazing. In addition to Vanilla Lake from earlier, this track was also teased in the first wave of the DLC, so I expect to see this track remade. And when we do, Nintendo should turn the end portion into a gliding section, where you fly right past the dino's head. That would be awesome. Another Mario Kart and another Rainbow Road. Double Dash's Rainbow Road had such memorable music, and I love that tube you fly up near the end of the track. Seeing this map return would be such a treat. And now, we move on to Mario Kart DS. Come on, did you really think I wouldn't put Waluigi Pinball on the list? This track is one of the most popular tracks of all time within the Mario Kart community. I mean, seriously, I think it's a given that we see this track in the DLC. In fact, Nintendo will probably save this legendary track for the last wave to wrap up the DLC with a boom. Next, we got Airship Fortress. This track setting is on top of Bowser's airship. Dodging those mischievous Monty Moles and moving fireburners really set the mood for this map. It's one of the coolest settings for a racetrack, and we definitely need to see it return. Once again, we got a Rainbow Road. If Nintendo brings back DS Rainbow Road, they should turn all these loopy-loops into anti-gravity sections. I mean, how fitting would that be? First up on the Wii tracks on my list is Toad's Factory. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Toad's Factory much, but they should. This track is definitely underrated. A factory with moving parts and machinery is one of the coolest settings in the entire Mario Kart franchise. Seeing this track remade in Mario Kart 8 Engine would be truly amazing. DK Summit is such a rad track. You get to race down the snowy mountain, and even get a section where you have to dodge snowboarding Shy Guys. Come on, Shy Guys, you're always getting in the way. Plus, the sick tricks you get to do off all the ramps is the icing on the cake. Next up is Koopa Cape. It starts off with you racing down a fast-moving river. Then you get to go underground and race through a clear pipe under the ocean. Trying to stay in the fast-moving middle stream while dodging all the shocks always made this track a lot of fun. This track was remade for Tour, so I hope we'll get to see it in Mario Kart 8. The Wii's Rainbow Road was one of the best in my opinion. I remember struggling on this track so much when I was a kid. With the limited railings, wavy roads, and gaping holes in the course, this track was definitely a white knuckler. And I always loved seeing all those star bits in the background from Super Mario Galaxy, since both of those games came out on the same console. Wario's Shipyard is my first 3DS track on my list. This was such a creative course that perfectly utilized underwater sections. Driving through and across all these wrecked and sunken ships was such a brilliant idea. This track was remade in Tour, so here's to hoping it jumps to Mario Kart 8. The 3DS featured two tracks that took place on the Wii Sports Resort Island, and the second of them, Makawuhu, was terrific. As soon as the race starts, you are punched in the face with that nostalgic soundtrack. You then make your way across the island and up the volcano, only to have perhaps the most epic gliding section featured in any Mario Kart game. Truly a legendary map. If this track with its beautiful sunset doesn't get remade, that will be a crime. My third and final Bowser's Castle on this list is 3DS Bowser's Castle. What else can I say except that this track is epic. You start off by gliding straight into Bowser's Castle. The road then splits into multiple directions, forcing you to choose a route as you dodge some thwomps. But my favorite part about this track is the underwater lava section. That's right, there is an underwater section that has streams of lava that you must dodge. one of the best looking tracks and level designs I have ever played. Finally, we have reached the 3DS Rainbow Road. Many people consider this version to be the very best Rainbow Road, and honestly, I can't disagree. This track was astonishingly creative. At one point, you were even driving across Saturn's rings, and near the end, you drive across the surface of the moon, and can even do tricks off of the craters. This track is everything you thought you needed in a Mario Kart stage and more. It delivers in absolutely every way and never gets old. It is so much fun to race on and travel across all these planets, moons, and the Rainbow Road itself, all wrapped into one perfect level. This track was thankfully remade in Tour, and I'm really hoping that means we can expect to see this track make a comeback sooner rather than later. And there you have it, my top 30 tracks that I want to see return in Mario Kart 8's Booster Course Pass DLC. Just to recap, my top 30 picks are as follows. Well, that just about wraps up today's video. It was so hard to narrow down the list to just 30 tracks, as the Mario Kart franchise is full to the brim with amazing, exciting, and astoundingly creative and fun stages to race on. There were so many honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, especially the Wii's Mushroom Gorge, which ended up taking the 31st spot. I was so sad I had to cut Mushroom Gorge from the list, as well as so many other stunning maps. But that just goes to show the tremendous imagination that Nintendo has when making these games. If you are still here, I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my picks, or share your own list in the comments down below. And with that, hopefully I'll see you next time, and have a great night.